you got to realize that whatever you're doing, you're competing with somebody. What is it that gives you an advantage over your competition? Whatever you're good at, try to be great at it. And if you're great at it, good things will happen.
Maverick Podcast.
I'm far from average. That's why I had to come sit down and chop it up with DJ Maverick. They know my name from coast to coast and even in Dallas. I use my talent when I'm faced with a challenge. Gratitude strength is my magnet. Close your eyes and imagine. If you can see it in your mind, then you can have it.
Maverick Podcast.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. This is a Maverick Podcast. Today, we are rolling out the red carpet once again. We have comedian, podcaster, and vlogger, the one and only Leopoldo Scott. Welcome to the podcast.
What's up?
For the 1% of the people out there that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Leopoldo Scott. I'm a comedian. I do open mics, planning on doing shows. I'm also a podcaster. And yeah.
Very cool. We were talking off camera. Your brother just moved to NY.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jose. So you guys grew up, you guys are twins, right?
Yeah.
Super close together.
Mm-hmm.
Did you kind of pitch ideas back and forth growing up, or was he more artsy and you were into other stuff? What was that like?
So Jose was more into the graffiti. Growing up we were into the cholo scene.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
getting in trouble with gangs and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah.
Yeah.
My cousin showed Jose how to tag, and I was like, I wasn't really into it.
Yeah.
I was more into making people laugh.
Okay.
So yeah, Jose, that's how Jose started tagging. And then yeah.
So even at a young age, you were into comedy, making people laugh. Mm-hmm. How did that even start?
Well, at first I didn't know you could do comedy for a living.
Okay.
I watched George Lopez, obviously.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh wow, this is so cool. I don't know if you have you heard of Medea? You know who Medea is?
I don't think so.
Tyler Perry.
Okay.
Yeah, that's his. I mean, that's a character.
Oh,
he does.
Okay.
I also watched that, and I was like, oh shit, you can do this
right.
as a job.
Yeah.
So in high school, that's when I started realizing that you can do comedy as a
career.
As a career. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So I don't know what you thought about George Lopez and Ralph Barboza. Did you see that?
Yeah, I seen that.
I thought that was I think Barboza took it well, where he was hey, no big deal or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I thought Lopez was kind of a hater. I don't know what you thought about that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably one of the biggest guys, and you hope that he wants to put up other people on, right?
Yeah. I mean, I get it. The old school mentality, because back then when George Lopez was getting up, it was all just mostly white people.
Right.
So the Hispanics and the blacks, nobody were looking after them.
And no social media,
no
TV.
Yeah,
so someone had to basically put you on,
mm-hmm.
right?
So that's his mindset. So I guess his mindset was if I made it on myself, you can make it on your own.
Right.
You don't need my.
But to me, I mean, that's the whole point. Being able to help others.
Mm-hmm.
Why
exactly.
would you, because you had it hard, why would you want to do that?
No, yeah. I thought as well, he shouldn't have said that, but that old school mindset,
Yeah, for sure. So even in school, you were kind of experimenting with comedy, or how do we get our first official on stage comedic experience?
So I never dreamed, or I never thought that I would be going on stage. I always just made my friends laugh.
Okay.
So just doing goofy stuff.
So you're class clown?
Yeah.
Clown
Yeah.
Nice.
Kicked out of multiple schools.
Okay.
Not proud of it, but just making people laugh is not until recently, in a year and a half ago, that I started getting on stage.
Really? That recent?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Was it just getting the guts to do it, or what held you back for so long?
The guts, yeah.
The guts?
Yeah. To actually get on stage and to look at people.
Yeah.
And the scariest part is not getting booed. That's actually scary. But the scariest part is like hearing silence.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. So you're cool with the boos. It's the
Yeah,
silence?
because you're getting a reaction with the boos.
That's
yeah.
true.
But if you're not getting nothing, people are just silent, and that's what killed me. That one time there was a time where I've gotten that, like, there was nobody that reacted.
Silence?
Yeah, just silence.
What do you do? Because there's no hiding. That's what we're talking about.
No.
Like, it's just you, the mic, the audience.
Yeah.
Like a musician can kind of hide behind the instrument, behind the other band members, right? But a comedian, man, you're just there by yourself.
So the time that I got like the silence, like no reaction, no nothing, was the worst. Like, I don't wish that on anybody.
Yeah.
Because you're just there by yourself holding a mic, and at that time I did a joke and it didn't like land how I thought it was gonna be. So the crowd was silent, and you just feel like you're naked. Everybody's watching you, and it's the worst feeling ever.
Man, walk me through the process, because I'm not familiar. I guess you're always probably writing material, right?
Yeah.
And you can probably get inspired by everyday things, right? So walk me through that process.
So what I mostly write is from my experience when I was little.
Okay.
So like with my dad, my mom. So my dad's like I'm a first generation like Mexican American. So my dad was illegal across the border. So so just talking about my experiences with my dad, my mom, because my mom grew up in Guthrie, Oklahoma, and my dad was from Guanajuato, Mexico.
Okay.
So two different.
Yeah, two extremes almost.
Yeah.
Right?
I like to tell people that my dad just married her for the green card.
Nice.
But yeah, and then he got stuck with kids and stuff. Not
nice.
But just talking about also experiences with friends. I like to try to be the, what is it called? The light of the party. So like, just if anything like makes people laugh, I'll do it.
Okay.
For a laugh.
I always hear, and I don't know if we're going to get too dark here or not, but I always hear that a lot of the comedians are some of the saddest people, because they're always trying to make other people happy because they're not happy themselves, right?
Yeah.
Do you experience some of that? Or are you just truly like a happy guy and like, I don't want to get too dark.
No, I will.
It's a valid question.
So,
I think.
When I was little, in my mom's stomach, Jose was actually on top of me. So I actually grew up. No, I was actually born with my head smashed. Have you ever seen the Goombas on Mario where they get smashed?
Yes.
Yes, that was my head.
No way.
Yeah. So they had to put like what do they call it? Like a cast on my head to mold it.
Jeez.
Yeah. And that it developed like was it bipolar, depression, what is the other one? ADHD.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say memory loss.
Yeah. Probably that. Yeah. Probably that.
Man, so some of that you kind of experienced that growing up, or or did you recently discover like, hey, some of this stuff I'm feeling may be due to that?
So I mean, it's always been like that. Yeah. Since a young age, my mom got me into like counseling and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I like to try to turn my darkness into happy. So I just try to make everybody laugh, but inside,
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I always hear that, man. And then you always see like a lot of comedians that you think are super happy, then they end up like taking their lives or something, right? It's pretty crazy.
It's that's the dark side of the comedy.
Yeah.
The comedians, as well as like growing up as a like hard, like a Mexican American. They tell you you're too white for or you're too brown for the whites, and you're too white for the browns.
Yeah.
As well as that.
So was that first experience where you got the silent crowd, or that was a different time?
No, that was a different. Yeah. So the first time I did comedy was at it's called JJ's downtown.
Okay.
JJ's bar. And my friend that actually got me into comedy, shout out to Chandler Watson.
Okay.
He was like, "Hey, we have this open mic. I know you were wanting to do comedy. This is your chance, And I got up there and I was like, I memorized like a bit that I was gonna do.
Okay.
About
Did you have like several material, or you just had like one bit?
I had one thing.
One thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Talk about how, because when we were little, my tia, every time she did cumbia, she looked like a chicken. So she would
Nice.
go like this.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can just based off of that.
Yeah.
And how my drunk deals would get when they were in parties. It got a couple laughs. But then like at the end, I didn't feel like I did my best.
Okay.
So that's why I was like, okay, I'm an overthinker. So I was like, okay, I gotta perfect this now. Like this is what I want to do now.
Yeah.
And I got my first itch.
Got it. And then you were just hooked. You were always like writing material after that? Or
Yeah.
what? How do you practice the material too? That's another question I have.
I tell it to my brother.
Okay.
So I'll call him and be like, hey, does this sound good? Or this sounds crazy, but I'll say it in the mirror.
Really?
Just to see how it looks. Yeah.
Okay.
How my body is, how I look.
Yeah. And also I think in comedy, timing is everything, right?
Mhm.
So
Yes.
it could be a funny joke, but if I say it the wrong way or I give the punchline too early or
Yeah.
don't deliver,
Yeah.
like it's not gonna be funny, right?
Yeah. So being like well, I don't want to say this because I'm barely doing it, so I don't want to sound like I'm the.
I mean, but you've got experience. Why
Yeah.
not? Like, let's share that experience to the viewers out there. Why not?
But like timing and being like there,
Mhm.
like, is everything. Timing and being aware
Okay.
is the two, I would say, in my opinion, the most important. Because if you don't have the timing, then like you said, you're gonna mess up the joke.
Right.
And then if you're not like there, like present,
Mhm.
it just feels like you're not genuine.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like being a musician, but being a musician, you kind of have to read the crowd, right?
Yes.
So you kind of see like, okay, they're kind of digging this, digging that. I'm going to go this route,
Mhm.
right? Like, do you do
Yeah.
that when
Yes.
you're on stage?
So I had a joke at the comedy club that I opened with, and it got a laugh. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go down this route because
Yeah.
I had a whole plan of going down the other route. But now that I see that they like this material, I'm gonna go down this route.
Right. Because it also could be your age group
Mhm.
or whatever background the audience is from too, right? Like you were saying, your
Yes.
tia, like if you don't have any Hispanics or anybody,
Yes.
they
Yeah.
might not understand what even cumbia dancing is
Yeah,
and how
yeah.
it's going to
Yeah,
be funny,
yeah,
like
yeah.
being a chicken, right?
Yeah. So I've had crowds where they were just like old, more older people,
Yeah.
not nowhere near my age, and my material. That's the day where it was completely silent.
Got it.
It was just like they didn't get none of my jokes. They were like, this ain't hitting for us.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
kind of crowds do you prefer? Do you prefer a younger crowd, a diverse crowd? Like what kind of crowds do you like?
Any crowd except for the crowd that I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for the older crowd.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that sort of being, but I think also it might be a challenge too, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know. If
Yeah.
you're like me, I kind of like a challenge. Maybe,
Mhm. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Me
set
too.
that as next time I'm going to come and I'm going to kill, right?
Yeah. So I've been actually preparing for like, okay, if there's a crowd that's gonna older crowd, I'm gonna have this material now. Like I said, like you said, you like a challenge. I do too.
Right.
So I like to make stuff more complicated for me.
Got it. So besides Lopez, do you have like any guys that you sort of like would consider a mentor or idol that you kind of like
Mhm.
like their style and you kind of want to like
Emulate,
mold,
yeah.
not necessarily copy, but mold yourself
Yes,
against that, right?
So George Lopez, 100%.
Mhm.
I love George. They're just like the two specials that he had a long time ago. I forgot what they're called. Oh, I'm gonna look back and but
It's all good.
but they're just like my tios and tias.
Yeah.
Like everything he said, I was like, that's my life.
Right.
Like the I think it was like Why You Crying? And like some other ones. Also Cat Williams. I love Cat Williams. Did you see the controversy about that?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was on the podcast with
Yeah.
Shay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like, dang, now everybody, he's from Oklahoma.
Cat Williams?
Or not from Oklahoma. He lived in Oklahoma.
No way.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He lived in
Okay.
Oklahoma for a while. I also love Bobby Lee, Andrew Santino.
Okay.
I
You watch
don't
their
know.
podcast?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I think I got Jose hooked on them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He got his artwork, right?
Yeah.
On the podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was telling me that. That was super cool. What do you think about Matt Rife? Are you familiar with Matt Rife?
Yeah, I love Matt Rife.
So
He's
Matt Rife is like, he blew up basically TikTok, right?
Mhm.
Working
Yep.
crowds, stuff
Yep.
like that.
Mhm.
But then he did that special,
Mhm.
and then people were saying he shouldn't have done that special. That
Yeah.
he did it too soon because
Yeah.
he's not as like funny doing
Yes.
like the actual like special, right?
I mean, I thought it was too early for him
Yeah.
to do that special, but he's a funny guy. I like his crowd work,
Yeah.
because he's present.
There's definitely a lot of people that are doing the crowd work. Do you
Yeah.
do that stuff too, or what?
I've seen that's a trend right now on TikTok. I try not to do crowd work because
Okay.
of the trend, because
Yeah.
that's the easiest. I can do crowd work too,
Right. And then you get boxed in and
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
expects you to
Yeah,
mess
that's
with
what-
the
yeah.
crowd, right?
because I've heard every time like Matt Rife and this other comedian that's like they're TikTok famous,
Yeah.
they expect to do crowd work.
Okay.
So that's why I don't want to do that.
Right. Tell me about what are your thoughts about sort of comedy, and should there be a line where you go over that line or not? Because I went to see Chappelle,
Mhm.
and one of the things that they do right off the door is like you got to give them your cell phone.
Mhm.
They lock it up in a pouch, and you can't like record, you can't take any pictures, video, nothing, right?
So the reason why they do that is there might be taping a special, or they don't want to get a joke out before like they do that special.
But Chappelle was like, "You guys don't have a phone. I'm gonna go off," and then he
Oh,
said
yeah,
crazy stuff too. So
Yeah,
I don't know if he was just messing with people, but I
mean,
think that's kind of like another reason why they do that too. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like if you make somebody laugh, there's no line.
Yeah,
But if they don't, it's very hard.
you almost have to make fun of the stuff that sucks
Mhm.
in life, right?
Mhm.
Like that's the whole purpose,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So if there's like a line that you can't cross, it's hard probably to be funny. I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean like timing as well. You got to read the person that you're talking to.
Yeah.
Because if the person that you're talking to, you know that they get offended, maybe not try that joke. Maybe try it with somebody else that is not that easily offended.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if they laugh, then you know it's funny. And if they don't laugh, then you know it's not funny.
Right. So when something doesn't work at a show, do you just like scratch it off your
Mhm.
material like completely?
Or I'll rework it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was gonna say, what if it was just the wrong crowd or
Yeah.
something, right?
I'll test it because during the week there's like multiple comedy open mics. So you'll go to one mic. If that material didn't work, maybe go to the next mic. And if it worked a little bit, then you have something.
Okay.
And then maybe just reword some stuff,
Yeah. How does open mic sort of work? Do you just like go during the week and get your name on a list, or you just show up the day of early? Like, how does it work?
So at the comedy club downtown in Oklahoma City, they do like they have people that email them to get up on the open mics. But if you're like me and you don't email them,
Okay.
you just write your name on a list and you put it in a bucket, and then they pick your name out of a bucket.
Got it.
Yeah.
But by that time, you probably already know what you're gonna like talk about.
Yeah.
You already rehearsed it a little bit,
Mhm.
so you're prepared, right?
So the whole weekend, the whole week, I write down stuff,
Mhm.
and then if knowing that I'm probably not gonna go up, I'm still gonna practice that set.
Okay.
Yeah.
How would you describe your style? Like, if I were to say, hey, describe sort of your comedic style, how would you describe yourself?
Wow, that's kind of, I never thought about that. Yeah.
Like, because a lot of people are like you said, crowd work, or a lot of people like to do like, I don't know, everyday life, do relatable stuff, right? And other people like to be controversial. So I don't know what kind
I
of
do
bucket.
more like try to storytell.
Okay.
Or probably like relevant stuff.
Got it.
I try not to do crowd work, but if I'm not getting any laughs, I go to crowd work. Because I know there was another time where I was doing my material, and midway I knew I wasn't getting laughs, so I switched to crowd work, and that worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Are you ever afraid of messing with people and that they're gonna get sort of irritated and try to like start something with you, or no?
I mean, not really. You're going to a comedy show, like
Yeah. Expect it, right?
if you get like mad, I mean, I'm sorry, but like
yeah.
you're
Especially
going
if
to
you
a
sit
comedy-
like
yeah.
front row, right?
Yeah, you're
I
asking for it.
never
Yeah.
want to sit front row.
Yeah,
Every time
yeah.
I go out, I'm like, no, I'm sitting in the back.
Yeah, if you're sitting in the front, you're asking for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a joke that you love, but like audiences haven't really like gravitate towards? Like, can you share a joke? I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Like one of your favorite jokes, but it like hasn't landed yet.
It's probably inappropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's yeah. I don't know if I can do it here.
Okay, got
Yeah.
it. We can tell off camera. You can tell me maybe.
Yeah.
Cool. What about like being on a dream sort of like comedic lineup? Like, who would you want to go on tour with?
Probably Bobby Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he's so unpredictable.
Yeah.
So I met Pauly Shore. You know who Pauly?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I met Pauly because I work at the Voss over here.
Okay.
So when he came to Oklahoma City, he worked out there, I guess. And I was just like starstruck. And I went up to him and I was like, "Hey, I know you probably don't like this because I know comedians hate when people come up to him and they say I do comedy too."
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
But I went up to him and I was like, "Hey, I do comedy too." Like, and he was like, "Oh, really? Okay, that's cool." And I was like, "If there was one thing you can give advice to a comedian, what would it be?" And he said, "Comedy is not a hobby; it's a lifestyle."
Okay.
And I was like, that resonated with me because ever since I was a kid, I loved making people laugh.
Yeah.
So I think it's just my lifestyle. So I was like,
destiny.
yeah,
right?
I feel like he was just speaking to me, even though he doesn't even know me.
Yeah.
So ever since he told me that, I was like, okay, I have to run with this like full speed, like write, do all my material.
Yeah.
And with Bobby Lee, he came up with Pauly Shore. So whatever he does, it's always like gonna try to make somebody laugh.
Okay.
So I feel like he would be the same thing as me. More inappropriate or not, I love it.
Yeah.
I love all the, like, if it makes you laugh, I love it.
Got it. That's cool. So he wasn't like a jerk. They always say like, don't meet your idols, right? But he was kind of cool or what?
Yeah. So I expected that. I
Yeah.
expected him to be like, oh, okay, another open mic comedian, like, get away from me.
Yeah.
But he was very, very cool. Like, I didn't expect that.
That's awesome.
It caught me off guard because, like, I was so hesitant because you can hear the stutter in my voice go like, I'm a comic too.
Nice.
But he was just like, oh, wow, man, cool. And he's like, do you want a picture? And I was like, what? Normally, I'm supposed to ask that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And he was like, no, I'll take a picture with you. I was like, oh, I don't know. No, it's not on my Instagram, but I have a picture with him and Benji Aflalo.
Okay.
I don't know if you know.
Yeah. That's cool. I don't know if you're too young for like the Vine days.
Oh, I
when,
know.
like,
Yeah.
people were doing that.
Oh, I know
but
them. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on like that type, right? Because I think a lot of people started with the sketches and
Mhm.
stuff like that. Like, do you think that that's sort of an avenue to like gain an audience or what?
So, with like TikTok, Vine, I think that's just another platform for comedians to do like sketches.
Yeah.
Because like I know in Hollywood you have to like pitch a show, or audition for a show or something like that. But with Vine and TikTok or YouTube, you could do it yourself.
Yeah.
And if people like it, they'll see. If not, then they won't see.
Right. And you don't need a crazy like production budget
Exactly.
or anything,
Yeah.
right?
You just need your iPhone and somebody to hold the camera. That's it.
Although I have seen like some of those do get crazy with the production, like the Cholo Adventure guys. Have you ever seen those guys?
Yeah. I
the
grew
Creeper
up on them.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm blanking on his name.
I just know that he calls himself the Cholo Creeper or whatever.
Yeah.
And he does like the goofy exercises and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Cholo Adventures. I watched them too. This year, I'm gonna start doing sketches.
Okay.
I was talking to my other friend. His name's Jose Balandron. He's my co-host from my podcast, and he was talking to me. He was like, "We should start doing sketches. We should start doing, just like stuff on TikTok." And I was like, hell yeah, I want to do that too. Like, I'm glad that you told me,
That's
so
awesome.
we can start doing stuff. So I've already gotten ideas down.
Okay.
Just like because he works in construction, so we can get that real, because he's Mexican, so we can get that real authentic Mexican like background.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So let's plug the Unplugged podcast.
Yeah.
Let's plug it. How did that start? And what made you start a podcast?
So like you were saying that about the getting like other avenues of like recognition.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe we should start this podcast. If I'm starting to do comedy, I see other comedians doing podcasts.
Yeah. Everybody has a podcast.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Why not? Right.
Yeah. So I was like, why try to let other people make me when I can make myself?
True.
So like what you're doing, I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I think just like building an audience, right? And the people that are going to mess with you, they're
Yeah.
going to mess with you heavy because they're basically like, you're in their ears like every week, right?
Yeah.
For long periods of time. They probably know you better than your friends, right? Because I think some of the viewers probably know me better.
Yeah.
And they probably like listen to more of me than some of my friends probably, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've been becoming a fan of yours. I've been watching all the podcasts before this.
Okay. Did you see the glow up?
Yeah. I seen the like how the thumbnails were before and then now how they are.
Yeah, I'm just trying to like better it.
Yeah.
Like I'm building the airplane as we go. So
I seen the intros, how the Mark Cuban, and then how the Shark Tank and all that.
Right.
So I was like, oh, that's cool. You can see how it began and then how it is going right now.
Just don't judge me too bad on those early episodes.
No.
I started like when everything was shut down, so it had to be virtual. And then the internet connections were always bad and stuff like that. So it was pretty rough, getting it off the ground at first.
No, but you like to see where somebody began and then now how they are now and where they're going, That's I love that. I love how like on our podcast, you can see how me, my brother, and our other co-host, we didn't know what we were doing.
But that didn't stop you, right?
No,
that's an important lesson, right?
Yeah. Never like stopping. Right now we have a break, but but just know, like in the back of your head, you can't stop.
Right. The other thing too is a lot of people use equipment as sort of like a way to procrastinate, right? Well, I need this microphone, I need these headphones. Like they want everything to be perfect out the gate, right? Instead of just like go for it. That's what I think.
Yeah, no, like 100% what you just said. Like just doing it, Like I have it's weird to say, but I have a quote on my little blackboard that says, just do it.
Okay.
Like, quit procrastinating. Just do it. If it doesn't come out right now, it'll come out later.
Was it scary buying all that gear? You're like, now we have to commit because we bought all these microphones and everything, or what?
So I don't know how much this costs probably, but
you don't want to know.
But ours cost like close to like $2,000. And that's not in my budget.
Right.
So I invested so much into what we're going to be, not looking at the now, but looking at the where is it going to go.
Yeah. I think that's super important. And going back to, sort of what you were saying of building something, how cool would it be to see some of these people, like let's say like Steve Jobs or something. If we could have had them like, building Apple out of a garage and you're able to see the progression. Yeah. Man, I would have loved if that was out there, right?
So have you seen the Kanye documentary?
Yeah. Where he goes to all the records and he's like, listen, nobody wants to listen to his demos and stuff, right?
So my vlog channel that I have right now, it was originally gonna be showing my brother Jose, his like glow up, would you say? But that fell through since he went to New York.
Yeah.
So I was just
what's up with that, Jose?
Yeah. Well, I mean, leaving me all alone.
Yeah.
But like I wanted to record him doing like murals, the mural festivals, like State Fair.
So at first you just wanted to be the guy documenting everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I wanted to do like the Kanye West, like show before he glue up, whatever.
Right. Because imagine like Kanye, and of course Kanye is Kanye, right? Yeah. But how like sort of confident you have to be to say, hey, follow me around because one day I'm going to blow up. Yeah. And then this is going to be historical, right? So think about that.
Yeah. Before we did this, my vlog channel, I was talking to Jose and I was like, how cool will it be? Because right after we watched the documentary of the Kanye, I told him about the idea and he's like, how, like, what is it called? Like a narcissist or something?
Oh yeah.
Like to want everybody to see you.
Right. But I don't think it necessarily has to be that, right? Like, I think it could be you just want to show the process and you just want to document it on a good thing, right?
Yeah. So I was like, in my opinion, this is cool. Graffiti is
Right.
so cool. Like you painting something on a wall, that's so cool. I would
Yeah.
love to see that. If I wasn't your brother, I would love to see this.
Yeah. I mean, I think I would have loved to see, and I'm a big geek about entrepreneurs. So
Mhm.
like Mark Cuban, Steve Jobs, like
Mhm.
all these guys, like who would you want to see sort of their documentary of building something?
Ooh, let's see.
Because have you heard the story behind Mark Cuban and how he ended up in Dallas and all that? Like, it's a crazy story.
Not really. I've heard of the Elon's
Okay.
story.
Yeah,
But
this is
I
crazy too.
Yeah, I've heard of was it Steve Jobs
Yeah,
from his garage all
Yeah.
the way to where he's at now.
and he changed like so many industries, right?
Mhm,
Like the
yeah.
music industry,
Yeah.
the phone industry, like
Yeah,
he
it's
touched
everywhere.
everything,
Yeah.
yeah.
I haven't heard Mark Cuban's.
It's pretty crazy. So in college, he would always like throw parties to make money, right? Like throw parties, and he would like basically give bottles to all the girls to attract the guys to come, right? So he started doing that. So entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
But then one day, he's like, "Hey, I like basketball. I want to listen to basketball." He moved, right? So he's
Okay.
like, he started basically web streaming before there was web streaming, right? So he wanted to just rebroadcast. You know, if you don't live in the state, you can't listen to the basketball game, right? Like they don't play it in other states. So he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I still want to keep up with my basketball team. So he started that. The only reason he ended up in Dallas because he found like a car, and that was like the furthest that it would get him, right? Before it broke down. It broke down in Dallas, and you know how you find cars on the side of the highway,
Yeah.
and they've got the little violation sticker
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
He like called and he's like, "Hey, how much do they owe on this? If I pay it, can I keep the car?" And that's how he got a car to move around in Dallas and stuff like that. So imagine just like seeing all that, like being
actually
built,
great.
and like just a lot of stuff that you have to do on faith, right? Like how
Yeah.
cool would that be?
That's actually
Yeah.
that's so smart. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an amazing story. And then that's how he bought the Mavs or
Yeah, well, that came later. So basically, what he did, he sold thebroadcast.com.
yeah.
He basically sold it to Yahoo, I think, for crazy money.
Wow. Yeah.
But that was like when the tech sort of like bust was, right? So
Mhm.
basically, what he did is he bought options on both sides. So if the stock was going to go up, he was going to make money. If the stock was going to go down, it was going to make
Make
money.
money, yeah.
So that's how he like protected himself on both sides.
Wow.
And basically, with that one deal, he was like set. And then, of course, he did more entrepreneurs. Then he ended up buying the Mavericks at that point.
Yeah.
But it's just a crazy story, like just winging it and then just being able to like take a leap of faith every time. right?
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that story. That's
You should
actually
look it
pretty
up.
cool.
It's
yeah.
really cool. I'm kind of like just putting everything, but it's a longer story.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I love hearing the entrepreneurial like route, how somebody like Steve Jobs made something from his garage and then now it's probably like controlling the world.
Right. Yeah, he has a crazy story too. I think he was basically trying to get in talks with Xerox because at the time Xerox was like the big company, right?
Mhm.
And he basically was like sort of calling their bluffs and saying, "Oh yeah, we could produce X amount of computers or
Yeah.
whatever." He was having all these meetings. Little did they know, like he was just out of his garage talking all this stuff, right?
Mhm.
But he kind of made it seem like if we can get the business, we'll figure out the details later.
Yeah. Just like betting on yourself.
Exactly.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mark Cuban is just like I didn't even know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites for sure. But going back to the question, who would you want to see somebody that how they built their sort of success? Because I think there's so many out there.
Let's see who. I'll probably lean more to like comedians or something. Probably like how because I've seen how George Lopez how he grew up, but I want to see how Chappelle
Okay.
Dave Chappelle
Yeah.
how he like grew up where he was from. Like I know he's from Ohio,
Mhm.
but I don't know his story.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Like all the risk and everything. And I'm
Yeah.
sure he probably like, he doesn't have the look, right?
Mhm.
A lot of the comedians like Matt Rife, right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
have
yeah,
the
yeah.
look and they blow up on that
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
right?
yeah. So, I don't know. Have you heard of Cat Williams' story?
No.
He was from Ohio, and I guess his dad was very religious, and he questioned that religion, or not necessarily question, but kind of question what his dad was doing. So he moved out of his house at the age of like 13, I think,
Wow.
or like something young.
Yeah.
He moved to Florida, Miami, and he was living under a bridge, homeless. And then I guess he made enough money to go do like a to Oklahoma here.
Okay.
And then I guess here in Oklahoma is where he found like comedy. And
Out of all places.
yeah, I know,
Oklahoma,
right?
That's crazy.
And then he started doing shows in like was it San Francisco, Oklahoma
Okay.
City, everywhere.
I've heard rumors that he has like a crazy IQ. I don't know if it's true or
he
not,
does.
but
Yeah.
supposedly I've heard that
Yeah.
he's like really smart.
He reads a lot of books.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard that he reads like how many, like a lot of books a week. I don't know. Like
Okay.
I think he said like 300 books
That's
a
crazy.
week or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's like crazy.
Yeah. So this documentation, at first you wanted to do it for your brother Jose, but then it turned out to be your channel and you
Yeah.
want to document your side now or what?
Yes. So now I document like how and this is my thought process, but like
Mhm.
how a guy that just started comedy. So I show like me going up stage, like my life, what I do.
Yeah.
And then hopefully you'll see the other side of me when I glow up.
Right. I mean, I think you should even document the stuff that's not like sexy, right? Like
Yeah.
writing material,
Mhm.
practicing stuff, like, you know, the grind to like drive to shows and like
Yeah.
all that, like document all that too, right?
Well, on my first vlog, you'll see me and Chandler, the guy that got me into comedy.
Uh-huh.
You'll see us driving to Tulsa. It's like a 2-hour drive,
Yeah.
and it's just a time lapse of us just driving there. I put music over the background.
Nice. That's cool.
But like, and then us in the like green room. You know what a green room?
Yeah, just like kind of like off stage,
Yeah.
just like a waiting area type
Yeah.
of thing or what?
Yeah, us just like messing around.
Yeah.
In the green room before the show. And then like I can make a couple jokes.
Okay.
But like, yeah, just like the experience before getting on stage.
Yeah. How about any closed doors? Have you ran into any closed doors and like maybe you still hustled or another opportunity came up? Like, have you experienced any of that yet?
What do you mean by like that?
Just like maybe you wanted to be on a comedic show or you wanted to like open up for somebody, you reached out and they just ignore you or whatever.
I haven't
like
done
stuff
yet.
like that.
I haven't done that yet.
No?
Yeah.
Because I've definitely like pitched ideas to people and stuff
Mhm.
and just like, they just leave you on red.
So I know that's eventually gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that, but just gonna recognize that not everybody wants you to succeed.
Right. Yeah. What about the vlogging? We were talking before we started. Are you comfortable with just pulling up the camera? You're in a public space, right?
So
Because we're not in like West Coast, East
Mhm.
Coast, where like
Yeah.
nobody would even care if you do it over there, right?
yeah. So it depends.
Yeah.
So like it'll depend if it's like a lot of people there. If there's a lot of people, then absolutely not. I'm not gonna do that. But if there's a little bit and like they're not like really paying attention to me, then I probably will.
Yeah.
Like right now, there's nobody here. So I started vlogging.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you should just do it. Just go for it, right? Unless you're like, I don't know, sometimes depending on what you do for a living and stuff like that, until you get to do what you really want, sometimes you have to be comfortable
Yeah.
with like putting stuff out there in social media, right?
Yeah.
Because I've heard where a lot of people get fired from jobs and stuff like that because of stuff that they posted online or whatever. Sometimes it comes back and bites you, right?
So I'm not necessarily scared about that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like I care what people think, but I also don't care what people think.
Okay.
So it's weird. My brain does this pick and choose. Like, like I'll get scared of people saying, "Oh, he has a phone out." Like you can, "Oh, what is he doing? Is he talking to himself? He's talking to his phone."
Yeah.
But I won't be scared of like what other like, let's say like somebody else says. But like if you're saying something to me like at that moment, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, because I don't know if you're familiar with what's his name, Tim Shantarasu, I think. He's like he's friends with the Cholo guys too on YouTube. And he used to work like before he blew up on YouTube.
Mhm.
He worked at the California Pizza Kitchen or whatever that restaurant's called, right?
Yeah.
So he talked about one time, I guess they like gave new uniforms,
Mhm.
and just on Twitter, he like at Pizza Kitchen, these uniforms suck, right? Not thinking anything, just trying to be funny.
Yeah.
And then they treated back. They're like, okay, thanks for letting us know. What location do you work at, right?
See, that's
and
where
then and then he was like, oh crap. He's just like deleted. He thought it would go away. But on his Twitter, he had a link back to his YouTube channel. And then they found out like he's like in this side of California. And then they started asking around district managers, does anybody know this kid? They found him, and then he got fired because of that, right? So and now it's a funny story, but like what if he wouldn't have blown up on YouTube, right? Like he's fired, right? Like
so I mean, you at your job. I mean that's kind of
like
that's kind of no.
Right?
Yeah. So I mean you're kind of asking for it at that point. But like as far as my job, I mean, I work 2 jobs. Okay. So I do my 2 jobs, and then after I get off of work, I hit the open mics, or I'll do my podcast, or I'll do my vlogs. If I'm doing something interesting, I'll pull out the vlog. But I really don't care what my job thinks. Yeah. I mean, if they just tell me, no, you can't do this, I guess I'm looking for another job.
I just hope that it gets like sort of more mainstream for people to be authentic, right? Because a lot of people almost want to act like they're robots, right? Like, yes, we have a job, we got to do what we got to do. But a lot of people are super talented and they like doing stuff outside of work. Yeah. Like, why limit yourself from sharing all those talents,
exactly,
right?
Yeah. I think when your job tries to control you after you're off the clock, it's time to look for another job. It's time to look for another job.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people hold back just because they're worried about what people might say, what their job might say. And of course, like, you have to do something for work to make a living, right? But everybody, I'm sure, has like dreams, aspirations. Maybe somebody doesn't. Maybe some they're like cool, just like Netflix and chill.
Being the robot, But like, I know starting with the podcast that I do, a lot of people are commenting like outside of like the YouTube, but like in real life. Yeah. They're like, which I never thought it was gonna happen, but they were reinforcing me. They're like, hey, I heard the podcast. It's pretty good. That's awesome. I was like, oh, I thought you would say different. Yeah. So
because I think even your early sort of like episodes, you got a decent amount of views like out the gate, right?
Yeah. I mean, mostly because of Jose, but like I'm assuming people saw the chemistry that because the guy that does it, Jose, well, not my brother, but my other friend, his name is Jose.
You got too many guys named Jose in your lives.
Too many Mexicans.
You hit the limit.
But Jose, he actually grew up next to us, like as our next door neighbor.
Oh, okay. So you go way back.
So we go like way back.
Wow.
So like how we started, we had our bikes, me and Jose, because normally if like me and Jose, that's all I need. Like I don't need nobody, like no other friends. I have my friend. I grew up with my best friend. Yeah. So like we were riding our bikes, and these other 2 kids come out and they're like, hey, you want to race? I was like, oh, all right. Well, I'll race.
Nice.
And then that's how like 10-year plus relationship as a like friendship started.
Isn't it funny? Like when you're a kid, you can be best friends for life out of something like, hey, I like your shoes or whatever, right? As a grown up, you can never do that, right? Like, how do you make friends as a grown up, right?
I know, right? Because like everybody's just like glued to their phones.
Or it's so awkward to go up to a stranger. As a little kid, you could just be like, hey, I like your shirt. You want to be friends? Yeah. It's like, that's it. Like, we're friends.
Yeah,
right?
I like your style. Oh, I like your shoes.
Exactly.
And boom.
I don't know how you make new friends. New friends, I guess.
Yeah, nowadays with this technology. But I would say when we started living at our old house, we grew up in the south side of Oklahoma City.
Okay. So you moved from Guthrie eventually?
No. We never even moved to Guthrie. Okay. So my mom moved from Guthrie to Oklahoma City.
Got it.
So I was basically born and raised on the south side of Oklahoma City. Okay. So we grew up in the Grove. It's Southwest 20th in Portland.
Okay.
They call that apartment complex the Grove. So we lived there, and for like a month or 2, we were like right next to each other. But one day, me and my brother got out our bikes, and we knew that there was other kids like next door to us, but we never went to go say, hey, you want to play? Or,
Yeah.
we just got out our bikes, and then we saw that they had bikes, and then they came up to us, and they were
That
like,
was it.
that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool, man.
Yeah. And then we started playing soccer.
Yeah. I'm curious, kids growing up nowadays, how they become friends. Do they,
I know.
like probably just like online gaming or
Yeah,
something, right?
yeah.
Like they probably like, hey, you want to like sort of meet up or something or
Like-
play online? I don't know.
Meet on Fortnite or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's probably how it happens.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like online, they're super comfortable. They're screaming at the game or whatever.
Mhm.
But then in real life, they're all shy, right?
Yeah, because like I'm assuming that they know that they can't see them. They're just seeing their little avatar.
Yep.
But like when we go to parties, I go like, mijo, go tell them, like, because he'd be like, Dad, I want to go play, and I'm like, okay, go,
Go ask.
yeah, go.
Yeah.
But he'll be the shy, and
Yeah.
he didn't grow up with the twins, so
Yeah. He doesn't have a built-in friend. Like
yeah,
you,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about sort of pre-show, right? Because there's a lot of people, especially musicians, that have sort of these rituals that they do pre-show, right? So tell me about you. Do you listen to music? Do you just want silence? Like, how do you hype yourself? How do you prepare yourself before the show?
It's kind of lame. I do a Red Bull vodka,
Okay.
and then I'll just look on my phone as the notes. I want to be left alone. Because like normally when you do open mics, you'll see all the comedians talking to each other. They know each other.
Yeah.
But like me, I just want to be left alone in the corner, going over my stuff, and then drinking my Red Bull vodka.
Just like kind of zone.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's just like because I grew up doing sports, so I did football, soccer, and boxing, and in those it taught me like lock in, that kind of like
focus
before like a game or before like something, you lock in.
Yeah.
So that's where I got it. Like 10 minutes before going up, you go, all right, lock the F in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan always talks about, I guess in his green room, they have this awesome playlist.
Yeah.
And then I think he even put it on Spotify now where you can go check out the playlist that they listen. He always goes on and on about how perfect this playlist is. So I guess there's like a music, different types of music. And that's how all the comedians backstage hype themselves up.
So when I write, I listen to a bunch of music. So
Okay.
I'll listen to like banda. Or
Really?
like, yeah.
Okay. I
Or
wasn't
like-
expecting that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Banda or like rap. I'm very into rap.
Okay.
Or like old school R&B, like 2000 R&B. Just like random stuff, like something that will get me feeling what I'm feeling, and then just write it down like on a paper.
Okay. I
I
wasn't expecting that. I'm going to put you on the spot now.
Yeah.
Like if I pull up your playlist, it's going to be on that playlist because I wasn't expecting banda.
Yeah. So well, I'm more into rap. But like I listen to a lot of J. Cole, Kid Cudi,
Okay.
Mexican OT.
Yeah. He's blowing up. Too.
Yeah. Big X The Plug.
Yeah.
Banda, I'll probably go Tigres del Norte. What else? Probably like some Jenny Rivera or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Something to get me in my feels.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like
Is that because like that kind of stuff is what your dad listened to or
so
growing up or what?
growing up, my mom listened to like a lot of Jenny Rivera.
Okay.
My dad listened to a lot of like very old banda, like I'd say like what's his name? The guy that just passed, I forgot what's his name.
Antonio Aguilar?
No,
Vicente Fernandez?
Vicente, yeah.
Okay.
Vicente, yeah.
Okay.
And my dad would listen to a lot of that.
Yeah.
Just like some old norteños or something like that. I'll just pull up a playlist and just put in like old norteños or old banda
Nice.
and just go through it. Yeah.
Nice. But that doesn't get you in your feels like in the bad direction where you're like sad and you can't write anything funny at that point or what?
I mean, yeah, it'll get me sad, but it will make me think of a memory
Okay.
of like, oh yeah, this was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad, but it's kind of funny.
Got
So I'll write it down. Like anything that'll make me remind me of my childhood or like something that's funny, I'll listen to it. And then if it reminds me of it, then I'll write it down.
Do you ever put like exes or family members in your material?
Family members
Yeah?
for sure.
Did
Yeah.
they find out about it? Like, no?
They probably will now. Yeah.
Nice.
Jose knows. I put a lot of him.
You change the names at least, or do you say, "Hey, my brother"? Do you call it out, or what?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not scared. I mean, so far I'm not scared.
Yeah.
So I mean, later on probably I will change the name, but like for right now, probably not.
Yeah. So what's the goal for the podcast? You know, Jose left us. He's doing it big in New York.
Yeah.
What's the goal? What's the goal for the podcast? You said you're gonna just keep it going, and what do you want it to become?
So like the podcast, I want it to be more of a, like I said, my personality, just making everybody laugh.
Yeah.
Since Jose left, we're probably gonna do more of a guest base, like how you're doing it.
Nice.
Not trying to copy you.
No. But, I mean, that's the thing is like everybody has a unique flavor, right? Like my style of talking to people is different than what you do, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think like everybody's unique. I think.
I mean, I try to talk to people more of like if I'm talking to you on the street, like what up, homie?
Yeah.
How's life? Our old episodes is just me, Jose, and my other friend Jose. But we're just gonna probably do a couple episodes of like us just messing around, talking about what's new in the news or whatever. But more because I know a lot of graffiti artists like Carlos Barboza.
Yeah, shout out. He just did the thing at Café Cacao.
Yeah, you seen that? Yeah.
Cool.
We were before Jose left, we actually went up to go see him. And it was actually pretty good.
Nice. Yeah, I think that guy is like super talented. I never understand how he can get so detailed with like spray, basically. Like I don't have no idea how he does it.
Or like Dusty.
Yeah, shout out to Dusty.
Have you? Yeah, shout out to Dusty. Have you heard the story about him and my brother?
No.
So as a kid, we didn't have Jose didn't have a place to buy spray paint. He would go to Family Dollar.
Oh wait, I think he did tell me that he was like buying paint from Dusty.
Yeah,
right, growing up. Yeah.
So Family Dollar, Walmart catched on. Like you're not buying this to like fix your house or something.
Yeah.
So he found out that Dusty had a tree leaf.
Okay.
So my sister would go buy him, because you can't buy spray paint when you're little.
Yeah, you have to have a driver's license, right? Yeah.
So my sister went in there, and Dusty knew what she was doing, because Jose would pick out the colors, and then my sister would be like, "Okay, I want these."
Nice. So tell me, I think that there's multiple avenues to becoming successful. We talked about your podcast, your vlogging. What else do you think you're going to sort of put out there? Are you going to go travel? We talked about potentially booking some shows in New York now that you have the place to crash, right?
Yeah.
Like, tell me like what's on the agenda.
So, I mean, I'm planning on going everywhere. Like, I just want to make people laugh.
Yeah.
Doing whatever it takes to make people laugh. I love it. Like, if it's acting, vlogging, podcasting, comedy, anything that makes people laugh, I'll go do it.
Nice. All right. So we are running out of time. Before we sign off, I want to give you the stage to plug in. Where can people find you? The vlog channel, the podcast, social media. Go for it.
So our podcast is called the Unplugged Podcast. My vlog channel is just Leopoldo Scott on YouTube. TikTok is Leo Scott. Okay. I do a lot of or not a lot, but I do some TikToks.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. Do you have to get those like sort of like comedic scenes and stuff, like sketches? Like, let's start doing that. I think that would be cool.
So me and that my best friend Jose, we're gonna start doing sketches like the Cholo Adventures.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So stuff like that.
Okay, very cool. Well, I want to thank you for being on the podcast. Door's always open, so hit me up. Don't be a stranger.
Yeah, thank you for letting me be here. Yeah.
All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The super talented Leopoldo Scott on the Maverick Podcast. In dreams, we trust.